Hello everyone, Crash here, this is RTA Motorsports. Today we're going to be talking about the Chimaera Racing CR5. Here we go.
Welcome to RTA Motorsports.
All right, everyone, before we go into my thoughts and opinions of the CR5, one thing I want to put out there, I paid full price for this unit here. I did not receive it for a review or anything like that, but you may not have to. Stay tuned to the end of the video for something special. All right, everyone, before we mount it in the rig and get going with that, let's go over some of the design aspects of the CR5 here. So you do have 16 customizable RGB LEDs at the top here, known as the rev lights. So by default, I have it set going from left to right, showing my RPMs, but right now it's blinking red and blue, and this would be something I would experience in the rig if I have my pit speed limiter on. This is something I would see to let me know that that is on. On the sides here, we have two RGB LEDs. These are known as the flag lights, but you could set them to many other different things. One good example would be your spotter data. So you could set car left, car right, or anything like that. Right now they're flashing yellow as if yellow flags were on track. The case itself is a 3D printed case. I'm kind of guessing it's a PLA material by the feel of it, but I don't have confirmation on that. You do see the 3D printing layers there on the side itself. I would guess it's about an inch, maybe in thickness. In the back here, it mounts to your rig using one thumb screw here, and the actual mount itself, depending on the wheel, when you buy the actual dash display itself, you choose what wheelbase you have, and it's a 3D printed mount that has both height adjustment, swivel adjustment. I've even seen some people mounting them upside down and then flipping the display in software. I haven't tried that myself to see if it actually fit on mine, but I've seen some people do it depending on the wheelbase. Maybe I'm not really sure what they're doing there, but let's go into the actual main part of this unit, and that's the display itself. It is the new VOCOR 5-inch touch display, and a good example of why you would want touch would be if you have several other things you want to show on each page. So one page could be your driving screen, the next page could be a qualifying screen, the next page could be the track map, so you can see where everyone is in real time. So if you're in the pits, you could see where the lead car is currently on track. Things like that. You can make one that just shows your pit information when you're about to go in, tires, how they're doing, stuff like that. The display itself has a display resolution of 854 by 480. All right, so let's mount it in the rig and let's see how it works.
All right, so let's get this installed on the rig. And you can see this is the mount here. This is the mount design. It's just a 3D printed piece of plastic. It does have that same texture that we have on the front and back of the dash display here. So it kind of helps hold it in place. We just put this one singular thumb screw through the back, straight through there. Now, if I wanted to, I can still turn this. And that's probably the only con I would give it as far as the mount, is that it's not completely, utterly locked down like as if you had two screw holes here. It does open itself to a variety of different positions depending on your needs. I don't know exactly why you would want it tilted, but you know, if something is mounted a little bit odd in your rig, so that opens up that possibility. Again, I think it was maybe the CR4. I don't remember if it was the CR5 or CR4. I have seen people mount them upside down depending on their wheel base. It might have been the CR4, the smaller one, but with the motion rig going, and I do have the motion rig on, you're going to see that this doesn't move on its own. I have to actually grab it to turn it if I wanted to move it. And I think that's because of that texture both on the mounting surface and this, and also it's height adjustable too. So if I loosen this, that I have to actually loosen it for. I can't just slide it. I could bring it all the way down here, or I could slide it all the way up. Okay, so now that we have it installed, let's go briefly over the software that I'm using. Again, this is SimHub that we're using. I'm thinking about doing a comprehensive video of SimHub as well as Z1 dashboards and how they all interact with the dash at a later time. This is just going to be real quick how the software interacts with it. Again, SimHub is necessary for at least the Arduinos, but you could also use it for the dash display, and that's how we're using it right here. Also, SimHub has many other functions as well, but again, if you want your dash display to run off of Z1 dashboards and that's something you're into, you can do that. You could run both at the same time. So we're going to go into Dash Studio. Now under Dash Studio, you can see there's a bunch of different types of displays that I've downloaded. Some I've imported. For instance, these iracing ones here, I've imported. The community has hundreds and hundreds of dash displays that people have made. You could also make your own, which is pretty neat. There's a Dash Studio that you could actually go into, actually putting in your own widgets and designing your own thing all together through here. So you could make completely whatever you want to make. You could even make dash displays that mimic maybe your favorite car or anything that you specifically want, you could do here. I have not done that yet. I've done that on Z1 dashboards, but not here. But within Dash Studio in SimHub, they do give you quite a few dash displays just straight out of the gate. So for instance, this is the main one that comes on. You can see how that just updated. It says engine off, and we do have two screens here. Once we're in the car, it will interact with it a little bit more. I just like how it says engine off, even though we're not in the sim. It's just kind of letting you know you're not in the car. Whenever you do click on a dash display, you see me going down to this VOCOR screen because that is a screen we have paired with SimHub. You can see here, we don't have other pages on this one here unless we're in the car, and I think that's when you'll get that actual map display there. There's this Audi concept one, which is pretty cool if you're driving an Audi, especially in Assetto Corsa. They do have a few really cool nice Audis in there, so that kind of gives you a little bit more of immersion factor there. This Bosch screen here is pretty neat. Actually mimics like an actual Bosch screen. But the one that I use pretty frequently, to be honest with you, is I come down to this one here. This is actually created by user named Mixta. Hopefully I'm not pronouncing that incorrectly. I use this one pretty often, but it doesn't have every car in there. But you do have these dash displays that are like this. And let me just show you what happens here when we load this one. So this one's like a software package, and it says loading iRacing. So what actually happens here is within the actual software package or the dash display package that this user has created, it looks for when you're actually loading up iRacing, and it points the different dash displays that they created to the car that you're in at that point in time. The downside to that is if iRacing creates new cars, which they do all the time, and they don't update their software and you don't import the new one, you don't import the new dash display file, you may be missing a few cars, which is the case here. So there's a lot of cars they do have in here. There's a lot of cars they don't have in here. So I use this depending on the type of car I'm going into. And if it doesn't have the car, for instance, the most recent one that I've been using is this Porsche 911 GT3R. And that's because we've been racing that quite a bit in iRacing, and it just feels a little bit more immersive to have an actual dash display that somewhat closely matches the in-car one. You could get some that are almost exact, but you don't have to. You don't have to do that at all. You could do basically whatever you want. Another one that I like to default to, just because of information here. Let's see where it. So the mobile dash with relative timings is one that is actually included in the software, I believe. I don't think I downloaded this one. Or maybe I did, because it says username whatever. So it's waiting for iRacing to start. Let's see if we hit start game. Yeah, nothing happens. So it actually gives you a map. It gives you all the relative timings. Everything's all on one screen, and it's actually pretty clean. There's also SimHub leaderboard. You could load on here and you just get all your different users who are racing, their lap times. You get a little map here, which is pretty neat. So what I'm trying to show you here is through the software, there is hundreds and hundreds of different types of use cases that you can use this for, whether it's through information like, lap times and deltas and where everyone is in a map, which would be useful like if you're a spotter for another racer, or if you're doing an endurance event and you're wanting to see where everyone is on the track, on your dashboard. Easy to see. It's another screen to add to your screens. So that way you can get a lot of information there. Or if this is something that you're using while you're in the pits, or I don't see why you would race with this necessarily, but this is an option. These are things that you could use, and now that we have tools to us, because I know I talk a lot about iRacing, but iRacing doesn't offer a track map. They definitely have the technology to do so. I'm not saying that at all. It's just being that it's a simulator of the level that it is, they don't offer a track map because in real life, you don't have a floating track map in your car. So this is our way of basically getting that information, much as a real life race driver would if they have in-car telemetry information or anything like that. This is how we get that information that we need. So let's go down to Arduino. So over here, this is actually what's going to control your LED lights. So from within here, we're going to click on RGB LED. And if we open up Open Test Data Editor, you can see everything kind of going crazy there. So this little window pops up, and you could basically test different aspects of your LEDs here. So we have pit speed limiter light on, and you can see this is the what the RPMs look like as they're going up. And I don't think there we go. So this would be what it would look like if we had car left, car right. We could lower this RPM down. And that's how I have it set right now. So that way, if I have my RPMs going up, I still get notified that there's a car right. I also drive with crew chief, so I'm getting a visual cue. I'm also getting an audio cue. A lot of times I'm racing and live streaming at the same time. So that way, if I speak when crew chief is speaking and I'm not really paying attention, I'm definitely notified one way or the other that something is going on. There's a car to the side of me. You also have blue flag on here, so that way you know if a lead car is coming around, you need to let them by. Again, this is the yellow flag, it blinks. The white flag, it blinks, but also the checkered flag blinks. So they look pretty much exactly the same, but that doesn't bother me at all. I mean, there's really only one way to do that, right? Green flag, steady green. Black flag, there is no lights on. And that's just how the way we have it set up right now. All right, so let's jump in a car. Let's actually get this going so you could all see how it works in real time. Okay, so we're getting ready to race here, and I chose this dash. This one here, I don't normally use with the Porsche 911 GT3R, especially in iRacing, but it's pretty neat because it's a great example of the different uses of several pages. Now, once you actually jump into a car, you do have access to this race page, which by default, when you're not in the car, is actually all computer information. So you have your CPU and your memory and temperatures and fan speeds. It's pretty neat. But once you go in the car, you have access to this race page. If we swipe over, you have a map in the middle and you get your shift light indicator. Everything like that is still there. Tire temp. We shift one over, you have your running lap, last lap, best lap. That's good for practice or maybe qualifying. And then this one here shows basically everyone's delta, gap, and their best lap time while in the race with all their names. So it's pretty cool. If you're in the pit, you could look at this, or whenever it might be useful for you. If you're doing an endurance race in a team or anything like that, there's a lot of different pages you could set up, not only for the use of racing, but also just for information. So let's jump in the car.
Matching car and track data found in Sim Experience database.
And you can see
Profile
that we got
modified.
doing a standing start. Really not a bad start at all on that one. This is an AI race here. And we do have the motion rig going. Did that on purpose so that way you can see if the dash display actually moves at all, which I have not experienced that at all. And you can see that car left indicator at the top of the RPM, where the rev lights just kind of going off like crazy. There you go, there's car right going. Pretty decent start here at Brands Hatch. No complaints so far. Really love having that visual cue that there's a car left or a car right. Really does help me be safer on track. Not only having crew chief kind of yell at me and let me know that there is someone left or right, but the point I always like to make is whenever I'm racing, I'm live streaming for the most part, so I'm always talking myself. Sometimes I miss the actual crew chief calls. But also, a lot of the new dash technology that's out there, there's like zero lag, and any one of these dash implementations that we have this one's no exception here. AI is like not giving me any room. Keeping the pressure on there. But if I switch over here, you can see the lap real time on that map there. You can see where we are. I can scroll down, see the driver's name ahead, their gap between me and them, the driver behind, Christopher Bell. Gap is about 1 second back now. Scroll over. Got my last lap, running lap, best lap time so far, which we only ran a few laps here. And then this here is the current standings with deltas and gaps between everybody. What I also like too is sometimes when you're on the track, an incident will happen just a few cars ahead. Before crew chief even really warns you that something happened, yellow lights will come on almost at an instant. So you do have something in your visual view that is telling you, warning, something's happening ahead. Really has heightened my senses, because sometimes you'll get a call that something happened ahead of you. You're not really sure if you're actually in danger or not, and you kind of still drive a little bit hard, maybe even ignore the call, or not really think that you're in danger at all. So having that yellow flag out, you know exactly when you possibly could be in danger of something actually impacting your car. But also on top of that, you know exactly when the caution is gone, because the yellow flag immediately, when it goes away, danger's gone.
Let's go into my final thoughts of this dash display. So this being a 3D printed dash display, there was a few things that I was kind of worried about when I was going into buying this. I did some research on it. I knew it was 3D printed, and I am a 3D printer myself, and I was honestly worried about the quality of the print. I went to Chimaera Racing's website after I was searching online for a dash display of my choosing. And if you're new to this channel, you would know that I've made many things for my rig, whether it was a clutch pedal, whether it was a handbrake, I've shifters, dash displays, mounts, stuff like that. I've done a lot of things for my rig to try to save a buck. I try to be as frugal as possible to see if I do like something before I buy it. I've done a lot of dash displays in the past, and I've honestly really liked the idea of having one, so I've always wanted one. And now that there's several on the market, I was kind of cross-shopping. So this was one of the first choices that came online on Google when I was searching that term. And there was others that are well known within the marketplace that I was cross-shopping it with that are $500 to $600. This one here came up at $225, and honestly, I was a little bit skeptical. I seen that there was no carbon fiber, no aluminum or anything like that on it, and I kind of figured that that's probably where they were saving a lot of the cost, but it's honestly less than half the money of most of the dashboards that are out there. So when I went to Chimaera Racing's website, I ended up getting forwarded over to their Etsy page, their online store. I've never purchased anything on there, but you know, I kind of know the type of products that are on there. A lot of them are DIY, and it made me honestly a little bit more nervous of the fact that it was a 3D printed dash display. After receiving it, I gotta say, I was honestly blown away by the quality of the 3D print itself. I'm a 3D printer. I have a 3D printer here. I know I can't print of this quality at all. You are always going to see those edges there of the layers, unless it is, you know, finished, sanded, and painted or anything like that. But most 3D printed products come with, you know, the bare edges on there, and I actually appreciate that. Being a 3D printing fanboy, I do appreciate good quality 3D prints and them displaying the work on there and seeing the, you know, the raw material on there. The front and back have a beautiful texture on it that doesn't really show that it was a 3D print. It's actually a really nice texture on there, and that's just really showing the quality of not only their abilities, but maybe the quality of their printer also. I really do like that texture on there. When you have it mounted in front of you in your rig, it doesn't really appear to be a 3D printed piece at all, and that's pretty nice. These RGB LED flag lights, the caps themselves are like a clear plastic, and I'm kind of guessing those are also 3D printed just by kind of looking at them a little bit closely. But also there's little bits of distortion on the edges that are kind of lending itself to be a little bit like it's a 3D printed item. And then also, you know, I came into it with the mindset that being that it is a 3D printed enclosure, there are going to be some flaws here and there. There's always some flaws with 3D printed items, and you do have some here too, and they're very minor. So you have like a very small little, not a crack, but maybe a slight separation of two layers here in the bottom left corner that I could just barely fit my nail in. That's just one little disformity or blemish in the item itself. And then also where these caps fit into, there's slight little distortions in there in the caps on the edges. And that is, you know, as long as you come into this with the right mindset and expectations to know that it's not going to be like a jewelry piece or a perfectly crafted piece like as if it was aluminum or carbon fiber, as long as you kind of come into it knowing that there may be some slight distortions here and there because it is 3D printed, I think you'll have the right expectation in mind. Also, some things that may bother some of the more like OCD type people that are out there, the LEDs that are up here, they're all centered much better than I would expect, but some of them are slightly off center. And I know from watching a lot of other dash display reviews that are out there, that is even common on, you know, much more expensive dash displays where they're just slightly off center from the holes themselves. But honestly, it's just maybe a millimeter. They're just, some of them are barely a little bit low. But I do enjoy that these LEDs almost appear to have a filter in front of them or something like that. You're not just seeing the bare LEDs out there. They're actually behind something, I think, and it kind of gives it a really pretty diffused sort of appearance to them. I actually really do like that. Overall, I gotta say, buying from them has been absolutely an enjoyable experience, but it wasn't without an actual incident that happened. So the first dash display that I received actually came dead on arrival-ish. I got the actual dashboard to work, the display, the screen itself, but I couldn't get the LEDs to work in a manner that was consistent at all. I wasn't sure what was going on. I didn't know if it was software. I didn't know if it was hardware. And as you know, if you're new to my channel, let me just let you know, almost every item I buy for my rig, something goes wrong. I have some weird computer glitches sometimes. I've had GPUs fail. I've had wheels fail. I've had VR headsets that I had to return. I have an interesting level of luck when it comes to products for my rig. So I am not really foreign to the idea that I have to deal with customer service sometimes. And honestly, buying something from Etsy, I was a little bit worried as to, can I really recommend a product, hopefully that, I may never deal with customer service, or does customer service even exist in a lot of these online stores? And I was grateful that I got to experience this, because I went on Chimaera Racing's website, I found their contact me information, and I contacted them. We got to talking a little bit about the dashboard itself. They actually offered some tips on how to set it up, and then we went through some troubleshooting at that point. Through the troubleshooting, we discovered it was a hardware issue, and they were awesome enough to just send out another dashboard. I sent them back the damaged one, and I was back up and running in no time. It was honestly a really refreshing and good customer service experience. And honestly, I'm happy that the first one failed, so that way I could experience the customer service experience. And then it makes me more comfortable in actually talking about a product at that point, now that I am accustomed to and I know the whole customer experience of a company. So I do got to say, I am very grateful as to their customer service experience that I received and their level of attention to their customers. In talking to them a little bit further after that, I come to find out that it is just a husband and wife team, and they are based here in the United States. And then also, after talk with them a little bit further, I come to find out their mindset when they were creating this product and what they were actually trying to do. And it makes perfect sense. I think they nailed it. They were trying to create a feature-rich product that is high quality as far as the display and the materials used and the LED lights and everything like that, but at a price point that is extremely competitive. And I think they absolutely nailed that. It's probably mostly due to their experience with 3D printing and the types of 3D printers that they have, that they're actually able to even do this. Because I think if they did not have 3D printing experience, or if they were trying to actually contract someone else out to make 3D prints for them for the cases, I don't think they would be able to come in at this price. And I paid $225 for this dashboard. And honestly, I was cross-shopping it with $600 dashboards from, other countries. So to get a product that's built here gives me a lot of pride. But not only that, it's a product that's less than half the price of many of the other products I was cross-shopping it with. Yes, a lot of those other dashboards had an aluminum case, or they had, fancy USB fittings, or they had a lot of carbon fiber. But honestly, I didn't really mind that. I didn't want to pay that type of premium to receive that. Some people may, and that's where I want to just bring this up, because you may have a specific requirement, you may have specific requests that you want, or maybe a specific theme you go in for in your rig, and this may not, or it may fulfill all those requirements depending on what you're looking for. But if you're looking for bang for your buck, features, and a beautiful display, I honestly believe this is hard to really pass on. The dash display itself, it's used in a lot of other dashboards that cost 2 to 3 times the cost. It's the same one. So, and same specs too. So that's another thing to consider. The actual main piece of the unit itself is the same in a lot of instances. Not all, but a lot of the instances. And just being able to take up only one USB to my computer was honestly absolutely awesome because I'm running out of USBs all the time. But let's go back to this dash display here. Let's talk about the actual main unit. This dash display, again, it has a resolution of 854 by 480. It's a VOCOR 5-inch touch display. I absolutely knew I wanted a touch display because back when I was doing DIY dashboards and everything like that, I always kind of lend myself into needing or creating multiple pages on whatever dash it was. So again, I created dash displays that had a map on one screen. So when I was in the pits, I could see where the lead car was in real time because iRacing doesn't have a map. So you have to do that with software or with dash displays. Sometimes I have a racing dash and then I have a qualifying dash and I flip it over again and I have a pit dash. So I have all my tire information, fuel information, everything big and easy to see. There's one thing about having multiple pages that really I like, and it's that you could spread things out. That's really what I'm trying to get to. You could spread information out very easily. You're not trying to cram all that information on one screen and then look in like the bottom corners at the small little tiny font to try to see anything. You could actually spread it out and make each page useful to what you need at that point in time. And that's pretty much it. So I knew I wanted a touch display, and a lot of the dashboards that are out now have beautiful touch displays on it or the same display that this one already has. As far as lag and things like that, I have not really seen any lag. A lot of the software that's out there that controls a lot of these dashboards mitigates that. There's really no lag at all. I don't really ever see any mismatching of information or any delay from shift information. I think all the dashboards that are out there now and the quality of the technology we have available to us, I'm pretty sure they're all going to really work the same way there. You're not really going to get any lag anymore. Even when I'm using Z1 dashboards or SimHub connected to my phone, I never really have any issues with any lag going wirelessly through my Wi-Fi router. So I think that's a thing of the past. I wouldn't really worry about that. And I don't think that's a factor anymore when comparing a lot of these dashboards. The actual quality of the screen itself, the visual quality, the colors, the contrast ratio, I think this is an absolutely gorgeous display. The black levels are beautiful. You can kind of just see how dark that looks around that Ferrari logo. And then when I scroll over to here, all the colors are gorgeous. I mean, everything just looks really good. The yellows, the blues. I have no complaints on the quality of this dash at all. And then a resolution of 854 by 480. A lot of dash displays that are out there that don't use the same VOCOR screen, they're starting to go to that 854 by 480 as well. And then knowing that, I was a little bit more comfortable buying a resolution like this, but I thought for sure that I would still be able to see some pixelation on the screen itself. Honestly, I can't. When I get close to it, I kind of feel a hint of it because I'm kind of used to in VR being able to see a screen door effect. But I have to get uncomfortably close to it. I would never mount a dash display this close. This is kind of getting a little ridiculous at this point. And I still can't really get, I still can't see the pixels. It's kind of, it's completely a usable, perfect resolution for a screen size of this big. When I have it mounted in my rig, everything looks completely pinpoint perfect. And I love this display. It's perfect. And the other thing is the mindset of why would you buy a dash display? Well, again, I've done many DIY dash displays in the past. And every time I do one, I enjoy it. I love it. But it always feels like, hey, there's my old 7-inch tablet. Here, there's my old cell phone. I've done a lot with old cell phones. It never really felt like that is my dashboard. When I bought this and I mounted to my rig, it's a purpose-built product that always feels like my dashboard. And it just creates more immersion. Not only that, it also, if you've never done any DIY dashes, it gives you the ability to see the information you need even when you're in-car dash, depending on your FOV and where your screens are located. Sometimes the in-car dash goes off the bottom of the screen. You have that information available to you at all times at just a glance, and it's always there. You could always count on it being there. It just creates more immersion and more information to make you safer and more effective on the track. So overall, I feel like this dashboard absolutely hit it out of the park. I would venture to say in its price point, it's absolutely the perfect dashboard, but is it the perfect dash display ever out there? That I can't say. I haven't tried any other ones. I would be completely open to trying any other dash display. If any other companies out there want to send me one to review, I could borrow it. I don't necessarily have to keep it. I would love to be able to compare and contrast some features compared to this one here and see what you're getting for that price increase, because some of them literally 3 times the price. I would love to see exactly what are you getting for that 3 times the price. That would really make me believe that it's really worth that. I do know a lot of those, again, have carbon fiber and aluminum shells, and maybe the LEDs are perfectly placed in the middle, but I don't know if that's something to me that would be worth paying that kind of price increase. But it's hard for me to say because I haven't experienced it yet, and I would love to one day experience it. I'll be completely open to it. But if you are looking for a budget-friendly, feature-packed dash display, again, this one's $225 for the 5-inch display. It's hard for me to say that I don't recommend it. I absolutely recommend it. I enjoy it. This is going to stay on my rig until something else comes along that completely blows me out of the water. But I feel like it's going to be a while before I could say that this one is going to be coming off my rig. I absolutely love it. The LED lights are bright. Absolutely love this one. And if you want to get one for yourself, there is a special coupon code after talking with Chimaera Racing that they set up for you all. So I paid full price. You may not have to. If you do decide to get one, you can have $10 off with code RTA10. I don't get any kickback. I'm not getting any commission or anything on this at all. They just, after dealing with customer service and then expressing how much I actually enjoyed their customer service experience, and then letting them know that I'm going to be reviewing this dashboard for the channel, they created that code for you all to get your hands in and enjoy this special dashboard here. I really do like this one. So everyone, I'm Crash. This is RTA Motorsports. Stay tuned for many more product reviews that we're going to be doing on this channel. Some things I need to catch up on. And if you have any questions or any video recommendations, post them in the comment box below, or any questions about this dashboard or any software you want me to try it on, definitely let me know in the comment box below. Everyone, stay safe, stay happy. I'll see you all next time.